Welcome to the SEC Unfiltered channel. I am your host, Dave Shumate, bringing you your weekly SEC basketball power rankings, folks. Before we do, let's get to our title sponsor, FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 deposit. Guys, we're fired up for FANDUEL to be our title sponsor. We got a lot going on, folks, but real excited about it, excited about what we have going on here at the SEC Unfiltered channel. Go like, subscribe, hit that notification, folks, to race to 20,000. But let's get right to it. Let's bring in the list. There we have it, folks. There we have it. Some changes we'll discuss. Let's start, as we always do. Number 16, the South Carolina Gamecocks roll in with the 90th net ranking. Folks, what is there to say? I mean, again, I don't think South Carolina is a bad basketball team, folks. When you watch it, I take that back. They're not a terrible basketball team. They're a bad basketball team because bad basketball teams find ways to lose games against Auburn at home when they had a chance. Vandy on the road when they had a chance. Florida certainly on Wednesday. Mississippi State in overtime. They just continue to find ways to lose games. Bad teams do that. They're not an awful basketball team, though. I've seen way worse basketball teams. And again, at home at Colonial Life, as long as they stay engaged, they'll be a tough out for anyone on the road. But we don't have to over-discuss this. South Carolina coming in at number 16. Arkansas, Cal and the boys, staying at 15th. I know they got the big win against Georgia somehow, some way, but they come in this past midweek. But they come in at number 57th in the net rankings. I mean, what are we going to say about John Calipari's team here? I mean, they're 1-1 this week. I thought the loss to Oklahoma was big. Again, you have an 8-man roster. It looks like Nelly Davis looks like he's getting a little more comfortable. But I don't know. If we're just talking about last week, just reviewing what this week's power rankings are, there's talent there. It's just not a lot of it because he only brought in 9 scholarship guys. He's paying for that now. But Nelly Davis looks more comfortable now that Boogie Flan's out. DJ Wagner had some assists. It wasn't bad against Oklahoma. They just had to have it because you put yourself in such a hole now that you're 1-6 in league play. But Arkansas coming in at number 15 for us. LSU, Matt McMahon squad, coming in at number 14th overall, checking in at number 67th in the net. I thought they had a good game plan. They had a midweek opener. They had a good week to go get locked in on Alabama. I thought Corey Chest played well against Alabama. They kind of out-physicaled Alabama in the first. They were. They were tied at half with Alabama. Good overall basketball game. They're not better than Alabama, even without Mark Sears for Alabama. It's just, I don't know. This isn't a great LSU basketball team. I mean, we saw what Green did, the tight end, Trey'Dez Green for LSU. We saw what he did. That was a big block right there. Who was it? Chris Youngblood he blocked, but no, went there for the dunk. Again, similar to South Carolina, not a great team. They just do bad. They do things bad teams do to lose basketball games. They're not just rolling the ball out and you're getting your brains beat in. Again, you have to go play well to beat these bottom teams. But again, they just continue. They do the little things that just bad basketball teams don't do. I mean, it just is what it is. But I thought they played well. I thought they had a good first half defensive game plan against that Alabama offense and Nate Oates and them. So I thought they had a decent week. Again, no good week with a loss, but it could be worse for LSU. They only played one game. Coming at number 13, as you can see, the Oklahoma Sooners checking in at number 47th in the net rankings. I mean, they had to have that game against Arkansas. Had to have it. Again, that was like a loser leave town type game, I think, from an NCAA tournament. And maybe it's too early to tell for Oklahoma, but Oklahoma needs to get kind of that 8 and 10 range to me. They need to get in that 8 to 10 range for me, in my opinion. I mean, they really do. I'd be concerned if they weren't from a tournament standpoint. Now, our guy JBR Bracketology, he thinks maybe 7 and 11. I don't know. They just have some games coming up that I don't know. It's just a tough overall. I think they're going to be that team. It scares me. It just starts collecting losses. And that scares me to death overall from that perspective. I'm pulling up the standings here. I'm just trying to see their games here coming up right here. Oklahoma right here was coming up for the Sooners this week. On Tuesday night, you got at Texas A&M. That's going to be a tough basketball game. It is what it is. That's just going to be a tough basketball game. Then on Saturday, Vandy comes to town. You got to get one of them. You have to. I think A&M's in this point. Oklahoma's in this point now where they can't go have an 0-2 week. They just can't have an 0-2 week. So I think that's kind of where they're at from that perspective. Coming in at number 12, the Texas Sooners, the big come from behind win. The Texas Sooners checking at 32nd in net rankings. I think Texas screams that kind of play-in game type team to me. Somehow they overcame a 22-point deficit to come back and beat Buzz Williams and them after a tough week for Buzz them on the road at Oxford. They squeaked out a win. Texas, they look like they were cakewalking it. We're going to play the walk-ons. Trey Johnson, though, folks, even without Arthur Kaluma, good week for the Horns. They were one of the bigger winners this week. 2-0 at home against Missouri and Texas A&M, getting 2 top 25 wins. Couldn't have had a better week, and they had to have it. Rodney Terry's team did. It's either Trey Johnson, Arthur Kaluma every night. I don't think that's sustainable, but I think at some point, again, sitting at 12, just how tough this league is. Number 11, the Georgia Bulldogs coming in at the net rankings at 35th. I kind of have these teams of like Vandy, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Texas, kind of like 2 of the 4 got to make it for the SEC to get 11. 4 out of 4 have to make it for them to get to the incredible 13 number. I don't know if we see that. I just don't know if we see that. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't know if we see all 4 of those teams make it. Even 3. I'm kind of sitting in that 2 range right now. But Georgia, they're going to have to start collecting some wins too here. They're going to have to start collecting some wins here at some point. Wins are going to have to matter at some point. Georgia this week, midweek travels to South Carolina, or South Carolina comes to town, and they go to Tuscaloosa again. 1-1's a must. Can't be losing to teams like South Carolina. Georgia's just that team. It was a bad week. You went 0-2. Somehow you lost to Arkansas. I don't know how you blew that game. And then it was a bad spot. I said it on Friday. It's a bad spot for them to go in and play Florida. Just an overall bad spot across the board there. But next, coming in, number 10, the Ole Miss Rebels across the board from that perspective. The Ole Miss Rebels come in number 22 in the net rankings. Remember, the net rankings is really what matter now from the NCAA tournament committee. But Ole Miss comes in after, now losing 3 straight, but 2 this week, dropping the heartbreaker to A&M. Thought they battled at Missouri. Missouri's going to be a tough team to play on the road. It's going to be a tough place to go get a win in Como this year. Obviously lost to Mississippi State in overtime last Saturday. So they've lost 3 straight since they went and got the big win against Alabama. Again, I hated dropping them so much because when you watch them, it's not bad, but it's just like 10th. Somebody's got to be 10th, folks. 22nd, they're going to be an NCAA tournament team. Got to start getting some wins, though. At some point, you have to start getting some wins. This week, Ole Miss hosts Auburn on Saturday, and they host Texas in midweek. So Texas midweek, Auburn on Saturday across the board. Coming in at number 9, the Kentucky Wildcats. It's a big drop for them. That's my guy, me and Mike Giddens talked about it. They're just not a healthy team right now. They need their dog, Kirk Risa, to come out. They need Maury Williams to continue to step up. Carr's hurt right now. Lamont Butler's banged up right now. Just a lot of injuries for the Kentucky Wildcats right now. I don't think they'll end up at 9. I just think this is where they are right now. They're coming off 2 losses. They didn't play midweek, 2 Alabama, 2 Vandy. It's a big win, big game on Tuesday. Big game on Tuesday, and then the Cal homecoming. John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks come to Rupp on Saturday, but Kentucky right now sits at number 14th in the net. They're fine, folks. It's just right now, with their health and how many games they dropped in a row, they kind of have to be right now. For me, this can change. I don't think they finished there, but I got the Kentucky Wildcats sitting at number 9 right now. Number 8, the Vanderbilt Commodores, and what a really 2 weeks. They went 2-1 their last 3, 1-1 this week, but their only loss was to Alabama. And again, that's why they check in right now at this 37th ranking in the net ranking. Just weird. It's just a weird it's memorial. It's getting back to that magic, man. Beat Texas. Beat Tennessee. Then you beat Kentucky in back-to-back weeks at home. And then, again, I know it looks like a 13, 15-point loss to Alabama, or was it 11-point loss they ended up having. That they kept scrapping and cut that thing into single digits and wouldn't go away. So give Mark Byington and his team credit. They did a phenomenal job in his first year. I think they're gonna make the tournament. I really do. I think they're in that 4-team category, but I think they're one of those 4 who do get to the tournament. Before we do, though, guys, got a good ad read for you here. We got the first whistle to the final drive. These are our buddies over at FanDuel, folks. FanDuel takes the NFL playoffs, as we saw yesterday, to the next level, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same game parlays, and so much more. Plus, when you win, you'll get paid instantly. Just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/SEC. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in the select states for Kansas and affiliation with the Kansas Star, or 18 and older, present in DC. First online, real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at thesportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Guys, again, that is our buddy. Those are our buddies over there at FanDuel, our title sponsor for SEC Unfiltered. Coming in at number 7, though, the Mississippi State Bulldogs, checking in at 21st in the net rankings. Had a scare in Columbia, almost went into overtime, or they did go into overtime, almost lost to South Carolina. One of South Carolina's ways they figure out to lose games. Mississippi State shooting a bunch of threes in transition when they could have ran out some clock. I don't know. Mississippi State offensively can still get clunky. The ceiling of this team, folks, hear me out, set by Riley Kugel. I will stand by that. State, they're going to make the NCAA tournament. They're fine. Just trying to get one of those top 4 seeds to get the double bye. Sorry about that. Then on Saturday, Mississippi State will host Missouri. So it's a big week for Chris Jans and that squad. Speaking of Missouri, biggest move in the power rankings, folks. I know Missouri fans are going to make finally this guy. That's even going 1-1. And I thought they would. I picked the Texas game that they would lose. So Missouri checks in at number 5 for me here. Big week for him. I thought that Ole Miss game was a bounce back win. I thought tomorrow Bates did a good job in the post game after Ole Miss saying, hey, that's one game. We can't let Texas beat us twice. Mature win for his group. Mature win by Josh Gray, Bates, and Dennis Gates. Got to give him credit there. This team's playing well. Do I think they finished 5th? No, but I think right now, you got to rank them right there. Like myself, let me pull up my nets. My net right now has them, or net rankings has them at 24. So you got to like what you see with the Missouri Tigers across the board there, coming in at number 5. Again, I don't think they'll stay there, but this week, even 1-1, I was very impressed. They moved up the most for me. Checking at number 4, the Tennessee Volunteers. Tough loss to Auburn coming off as they check in at 4th overall, have some quality wins. Big week for them, though. Tennessee gets Kentucky at home tomorrow and Florida at home on Saturday for a chance of a revenge game. I just think there's a ceiling to this team offensively. Zakai Zeeler can only gut it out so much. They need more from Igor Milicic. They need more from Chaz Lanier. They just need more. Just need more. Whatever more is, they just need more offensively. I just think there's a ceiling. And that's why I think they're kind of on the back end of that 4 of those other teams. Checking in at number 3, the Florida Gators. Florida Gators got a bounce-back week after dropping 1 to Missouri late last week. It was scary, though. They went 2-0, but they could have easily dropped that one to South Carolina. Easily could have lost. They check in at number 5 in the net rankings, fighting for a number 1 overall seed. But again, they continue their streak of a dismantling of the Georgia Bulldogs on Saturday. And I kind of felt that way. Again, the guards you love, Will Richard, Elijah Martin. We know about Walter Clayton. Alex Condon and Chinyulu will set the ceiling for this team. How well does that front court play for them consistently? That's kind of my question there. I think this team has a better chance of getting to the Final Four than they do winning the SEC. I know it's wild to say, but I really do. It's like I saw Jay Billis say today, I think it's going to be harder to win the SEC tournament than the NCAA tournament, or even to get to the Final Four. That's just, again, Florida goes to Auburn and to Alabama, 2 teams that are competing for the league play. And again, they probably have to go 2-0 this week. They can't afford a loss to Tennessee. They can't, because Auburn's not going to lose much at home, folks. So you really can't afford those type of games. Auburn's off midweek till they play Tennessee. But again, they need that win on the road. That's wild to say. You got to sweep Tennessee to stay in the league rankings. You got to go get a win at the Tommy Bowl. Tough place to play. But that's what Auburn's put everybody else in. Alabama's in the same boat. Speaking of the Crimson Tide, solid week. You went 2-0. That Vandy win looks better and better. Again, Vandy keeps chipping away. LSU had a good game plan. I was a little more impressed with LSU than I was disappointed in Alabama, but Bama checks in at 7th in net. The thing is going to be brought up, Mark Sears. Well, it's kind of, looked like he got benched in the second half. Nate Oates said he wished he would have responded like Cliff Amoria did, who got benched at the end of the first half in the second half. He thought he should have responded better from that perspective. And he maybe could have got minutes, but some people say he didn't get a chance. Again, I don't think this is as big of a deal as some are making it out to be. I think it's just a head coach wanting to set a standard. Hey, if you aren't going to play defense, if you're just going to dribble into traffic, turn the basketball over, not hustle back when you get knocked down at the end of the half, I'm going to sit you. And if you don't respond well to that, maybe you're going to be sitting the whole bench. Maybe it won't just be till the 16-minute timeout. Again, I think it's a little bit water under the bridge. Maybe there's something a little more there. People bringing in the Illinois game where he checked himself out apparently and let the team kind of carry him. I don't know. Just an interesting perspective across the board there from this Alabama team. Highest ceiling, I think, in the league, though. Highest ceiling, but they got a big one on Wednesday night at Mississippi State. Chris Jans, or Nate Oates, is undefeated against Chris Jans. And then Alabama will take the show on the road back home to Georgia this week at home. So they need to go 2-0. I mean, Alabama, you got to keep up with Auburn. Speaking of Auburn coming in at number 1 for us, you got to keep winning. And the Auburn Tigers coming at number 1 across the board, number 1 in the AP, number 1 in the net, number 1 in KenPom, number 1 in the SEC basketball power rankings, and it's the only power rankings that matter. They're number 1. They have the driver's seat in the SEC because of Alabama dropping that one to Ole Miss. It's going to be hard to stay. I mean, I think the SEC title is going to come in the state of Alabama. Probably Auburn. I mean, I think Alabama can do it. I think Alabama's going to have to win through that first Auburn game, though, because you can't keep mounting losses. I don't think – because I think Alabama's going to have to beat Auburn twice to win the league. And I think winning at Auburn, that last game of the regular season before the SEC tournament, will be very tough, especially if the league titles, where you have a tables, ladder, and chair match, and it's dangling over there. I mean, Auburn losing that game, that would go against a lot of things that we've seen this year. But no, to my point, I mean, Johni Broome, what a performance. What a gutsy performance. Again, they don't beat Tennessee without Johni Broome. But initially, I thought that win against Tennessee was a little sloppy. I was like, but then the more it sank in, I'm like, dude, even this team isn't scoring in mid-80s like they're used to. They can go get in the 60s and win. And Tennessee drugged them and tried to play their style. They tried to muck it up. And Auburn said, I mean, it's not how ideally they had to hit a big 3 late. They needed every rebound and point Johni Broome gave them. If they didn't have Johni Broome, they don't win that game. Give them credit. I mean, that was a game that, like, traditionally they probably would have lost because their guards would have shot them out of that game. No, I mean, they defended. It's like Bruce Pearl said, we miss Johni more on offense than we do on defense. Auburn's defense is suffocating. Their guard going to come out there and guard you. Offensively, they need him because he's gotten better every year since he came from Morehead State, from his patience to his ability to pass. They needed it, and they had to. So we'll see. Auburn travels to Baton Rouge this week before they head to a tough matchup, a hungry Ole Miss team at the Pavilion in Oxford. That'll be a tough one as well, folks. But, folks, I appreciate you joining me as I break down my January 27th, 2025 power rankings and tell you each individually why I think they move, again, why they're there. Again, biggest movement, Tennessee from a positive trajectory, Kentucky from a downward trajectory. I don't think either team stays in that spot. I don't think Missouri stays in the 5th spot. I don't think Kentucky stays in the 9th spot. I think the SEC is a state of Alabama championship run right now. I think with Tennessee losing to Auburn on Saturday, that kind of did it. I like Florida. I think Florida's got a better chance to get to the Final Four than winning the SEC because, again, they only play Alabama and Auburn twice, both on the road. It's a tough ask. Probably going to have to go 2-0 to win that. But, guys, for your host, Dave Shumate, for our title sponsor, FanDuel, that sponsored this Dave Shumate's power rankings here for us at the SEC Unfiltered channel. I appreciate you listening. Hey, remember, guys, go like, subscribe, hit that notification bell at the SEC Unfiltered channel, guys. It's all things SEC. Football, certainly basketball, and baseball just around the corner, guys. But for Dave Shumate, you have a phenomenal rest of your day.